right, what's up, everybody? It's Ange from Ange Inspires, and today we have something really special for you. We are doing a motherhood panel. This is because if you watched our last video, chapter 4 was all about motherhood, and we can't really give all perspectives on this topic, so we felt like we would bring some mamas in that we know to give us a mother perspective on just life and motherhood. So we have some women today on Zoom with us to just share their perspectives on motherhood, some things that will relate to the book. We're only using the book as a guide through the conversation, but we look forward to what this conversation will look like. So Tekeyha's here, I'm here, we got our book and we got our besties, and we're about to get this conversation started. So we're about to go do some introductions, and all we want to know from you ladies is, what's your name? How old are your kids? What do your kids call you? Do they call you mom, mommy, mama, something? What's that nickname that your kids call you? And then if there's anything you want to share to the people, feel free to share that. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Kimberly Potts. The age of my kids, my daughter is 20. My son is 28. They call me mom, mama. My son, he'll get in the habit of calling me lady. And that's all I can say.
Do you have anything you want to shout out, let the people know about you, where they can find you?
You can find me on Facebook under Kimmy Mo Potts. That's KIMMYMOE. I love everything art, and I sell paparazzi jewelry. So you can check out my business page, Kimmy Mo Blings, BLINGZ. And I do live, so come check me out. Join my live sometime. Come chit chat with me.
I guess I'll go next. My name is Jackie Warren. I'm Angela's mom. I have two children. One is 32 and one is 27. And both of them call me mama. And I love to sew. I'm like Kim, I love anything arts and craftsy. I love to sew, find it relaxing. Recently I've been making masks. So if anybody needs a mask, just hit me up. I'm on Facebook, Jackie Beasley Warren. It's good to see everybody.
Now, you know, after Mama Jackie, I got to come on through. Hey, Mama Jackie!
Springtime.
Hey, everybody. My name is Summer. I am in Winston-Salem, originally from Charlotte. It's a long story. But my children are two. They're twins, a boy and a girl. They call me whatever they want to call me at the moment. It changes from day to day. Some days I'm mommy, some days I'm mama. And if they're trying to get something from me, I'm mommy. So, yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. The Summer B. That's where I am on Instagram. I'm happy to be here.
I guess I'll go ahead and go. I'm Sierra. I have a 2.5-week-old. So I just gave birth 2.5 weeks ago. Her birthday is January 2nd, 2021. She's fresh in this new decade. First baby, so she does not speak yet, of course, so she doesn't call me anything. But, you know, we'll see how stuff goes. If she wants to say mama, mommy, ma, whatever she wants to say. I call my mom ma or mommy, so whatever I feel like it. But yeah, she's 2.5 weeks old, and we're just starting out on the motherhood journey. So probably the youngest one here, like mother-wise, like baby-wise. But glad to be here. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and I have a website, thesmoothedgebrand.com. If you want to buy any home decor products, they have coasters and cheese boards and all that different kind of stuff. But that's me.
Congratulations, Sierra.
Hey everyone, my name is Shea, and I have a 2-year-old. I always say 2-year-old, but some people would be like, he's 26 months old, because it's a difference between the new 2-year-olds and the 2-year-olds that are about to turn 3. So he's officially 26 months old, and he calls me mommy when he's like loving me, or he'll say mama if I'm just like kind of in his way or just in the vicinity. But if it just depends, mommy and mama.
Hey y'all, my name is Nada Fawcett, and I have a 7-year-old daughter named Carson, and she calls me mommy. And you can find me on social media as well as Nada Fawcett. I do own a funnel cake gourmet style mobile truck here in the Charlotte area. So I do catering and also live events. So feel free to follow us. We are out weekly. Funnel Vision Funnel Cakes.
Okay, Brie, we're just doing a name. How old is the baby and what does the baby call you? And anything you want to share.
Okay. Hey, everybody calls me Brie, Brianna, and my baby Mason is 10 months old now, and he calls me ma, 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 like all day long, like that's it. And let me see, I'm a Charlotte native, and I'm having a hard mommy night right now. I told Angie that right before getting on here, and so I'm just glad to be in the space because there are nights where it's just challenging, and that's tonight. So I'm glad to be here.
Well, we are so glad to have all of you here. Like, this is so exciting. Y'all don't even know how exciting this is, really. Okay, we gave you guys some things to think about before tonight. So we're gonna kind of go into those questions. So, okay, in this book, in chapter 4, which of course, we're just using the book as a guide here for a conversation, but the author, Stasi, she describes 3 attributes of mothers, really 4, but the 4th one is like more so for moms where they have kids leaving the house. So we figure we'll just talk about the 3 because those are more easily applicable to every mom in any stage. So these 3 attributes of mothers are protector, nurturer, and preparer. So the protector is pretty self-explanatory. That mom who sees and steps in, right, to protect the baby. You have the nurturer who does the comforting, the touch, the lovey-dovey stuff. And then you have the preparer who is really like preparing you for life, who's looking at what gifts you have, you know, and guiding you or guiding their children in those directions. And we know that all exist, you know, in different facets, but something Tekeyha and I talked about in our last conversation was like mommy language. Like, you know, they have love languages where you have, you know, quality time. It's different ones, but each one kind of ranks differently. We kind of think of it in that perspective is mothers possess all of these attributes, but which ones do you feel show up mostly, or which do you most, I guess, relate to? So yeah, I guess the question would be, how do you see these attributes showing up in your mothering now in the season that you're in? Anybody can go.
I'll start. I am seeing a shift because I should have warned y'all, my twins will pop up. I gave them all the snacks, the fruit snacks, the juice. They're gonna come in here. So I'm gonna try and get this out before they bust up in here. So I am, okay, baby. Okay. I am in between the comforter and the preparer. Okay, baby. I'm coming. The reason I say that is because, okay, hold on, baby. The reason I say that is because when they were little, there was a lot that I wanted in my control. I want to know who you're hanging out with and where you going and what time you going, da-da-da. But then I realize a lot that's in their life is out of my control, especially now that my husband and I are now separated, preparing for a divorce. It's something that I've just come to realize. Some things are within my control, some things are not. And in order to maintain my peace, I got to know what I can control and what I can handle and what I can't. So my job in this process of our life is to make sure they know that they are secure in having their mom and their dad. Luckily, he's working with me, and we have a great co-parenting relationship. The dynamic of it, the structure, the schedule, it's as easy for them to transition, knowing that we still have their best interest at heart and in mind. In addition to the comforter, the preparer, because they're two and they're learning a lot from their classmates, just everyday interactions. It's easy to pick up on something and just blurt it out. You know, one of my girlfriends was telling me about her child who said, "Mommy, I don't like you. You know, I want a new mommy." And he's 5, and that really hurt her. You know, she's like, you're my best friend. Why would you say you don't like me? You know, but she also had to realize that's not something that she introduced to her child, but they're picking up on a lot of information from day to day, whether it's classmates, TV, da-da-da. And as a preparer, we have to give them the tools, the resources to help them navigate conversation and more intimate relationships with peers and family members and such and such. So I moved out of the protector role into more of those two, of course, with the lifestyle changes and as they've grown as well.
Anybody else want to take a shot at that?
Okay. I would say I'm all three. My son and my daughter are 7 years apart. So I have a millennial and I have a Gen Z. They are two totally different people. I mean, a Generation Z, they're more independent and strong-headed, wherein the millennials are still that way, but they're more laid back. He born in the early 90s. He was more laid back. So nurturing, preparing, and protecting, he accepted all of that. I was like Brianna Summer. Is that her name, Summer? I was like Summer. I wanted to be in control. I wanted to know where they were going, who they were going with. Can I meet them? You know, this and that. But like she said, I had to learn to step back. My daughter, on the other hand, she's not the type that wants to be coddled. She just wants to be alone, independent. Right now, she's trying to figure her way. That's how Gen Zs are. So I had to learn to step back from her and deal with her a different way than how I dealt with my son. And as hard as it is, she's only 20 and she's been this way since about maybe 16. And as hard as it was to take my hands off, I had to learn to take my hands off and let her find out in her own way what my son was willing to take from me. She's not so willing to take from me. And it's a hard thing to do, just to take yourself out of it and knowing, you know, hey, you're going down this road. Let me show you another way. And they don't want to be shown the Gen Z, that age group. They don't want to be shown. They want to go down and find out their own way. It's kind of hard to explain. I hope I'm doing a good job at explaining this.
You are.
Yeah, but it's a big difference in the way they and the way I had to raise them, so to speak.
I'm just gonna piggyback off of that too. You got to think about. I feel like the time since you brought up the generational differences between the two. I feel like that definitely can aid in just parenting styles in general when you just have your children, because I just feel like no matter your age, you still have to kind of deal with what they're going through during their time period versus what you're going through with for yourself as well. So I feel like it was just a little piggyback, but next.
I'll go ahead and go. For me, I'm super new, of course, to out of the womb mom life. But I feel like for me, the nurture is more where I'm at right now, because I'm like, okay, I want to make sure she has everything she needs to set her foundation for life. So it's like breastfeeding is what I'm doing right now. And that's like, it's a whole job. It's like I need a whole assistant for that just to wash all the pump parts, I feel like. But getting like trying to set her up for the best that she can be, because it's like easier on her stomach than formula and all that different kind of stuff. But that's something that I have to do, you know, for her. So I'm like just trying to do everything I can to nurture her to be the best that she can be when she grows up. So that's what I feel like right now I'm nurture, but I feel like I'll evolve into the other two and have them, you know, mix and mingle and all that kind of stuff. But right now I feel like I'm at nurture, and then every little noise she makes, I'm like, oh, are you okay, little mama? You good? You know, doing all the little baby talk and doing all that different kind of stuff, because she's so new to the world. And I'm like, she doesn't know what the world is. So just, you know, helping her adjust to the world and to me and my husband and our house and life outside of the womb. So I feel like I'm at the nurturer and like, let me hug you. Let me see what you need. Need a diaper change? What do you need? So that's where I'm at.
I think things change through each phase. Like when they're babies, of course, you're going to be more of a nurturer because you're their only source of everything. You're going to be more nurturing, more protecting when they're infants. Then as they get into toddler stage, you're more protector because you see them branching out, trying to be independent. You don't want to be a hoverer, but you want to, you know, let them have some independence, but you still want to protect them from the dangers, you know, that are out there. And then as they get to the next step, you know, school age, teenage, you're more protector, but you're more prepared, because at that point you're preparing them to be independent. So, I mean, each step you change, you know, but overall you're nurturing through the whole process because they got to know that you love them and you're there for them. But I think you'll see that, you know, every step is changing, so.
All right, anybody else want to go before we? Okay, go ahead, Shea.
Yes, sorry. That was the worst moment that I had to cough, but am I still muted? No, you can hear me. I don't feel like I've ever really been a big protector. Only because when my son was first born, I was really sick. So I wasn't around him for like the first 3 weeks of his life. So it kind of like made me feel like I had to make up in other ways because I wasn't really there, like health-wise, to really protect him the way that I wanted to. So it caused me to probably over-nurture him and over-prepare him for everything. Because from that point forward, I just felt like I wasn't really prepared for motherhood because the birth was kind of like, okay. And then I was kind of like unprepared for everything. So now I wanted to be the preparer to like make sure that everything is in place and everything is okay. So that like when he just goes and moves through life, it's not like a surprise. It's always like some kind of security there. So I think like when you see protector, you think safety, but I see my safety in preparation. So that really makes me a preparer, like just prepare for the future. You have plan A, you have plan B, you have plan C. if it goes wrong, you're not thrown for a loop, just knowing that you always are safe because you have options. And knowing that I'm the nurturer, so I'm going to be in all of those options regardless, because I'm really, oh, that's my baby. I don't want to be the one where everybody's like, oh, you know, mothers coddle their son. So I try to be like, okay, so prepare yourself so that you know how to be like, you know, a functioning adult in society. But that's still my baby. Like, I'm not going to treat him I'm really a nurturer, because a lot of people are like, he's a boy. Why are you treating him that way? Like, there's a lot of people who will say that. And I'm just like, no, I'm going to level him and he'll figure it out. And it's okay.
That's good. That's good.
That was good.
Go ahead, Summer.
I was gonna say that it's so crazy that that Shea did say that, you know, like the first couple weeks, you know, I had a lot going on, is what she was basically saying, you know, with myself. So it's just crazy how we are all mothers here, and how our experiences, our perspectives can still vary so wildly. You know, I could relate to what Shea was saying. You know, the twins were in NICU as well. So for 2 months, I couldn't take them home. And that's funny. I mean, that on the opposite end, I was hyper protective when they came home. Like, I don't want nobody touching my baby. No, y'all can't do skin to skin. No, you know, not wash hands, do the hand sanitizer, girl. All of my baby sport came out when the twins came home. So it's just really interesting to see the varying perspectives. To see the varying perspectives on how that takes place. We're going on mute.
Hey, Autumn, I love you. So sweet. Y'all, I will cry on here. Do not push me. Okay. That was really, like, Brie, did you want to tap in on that question? We just talked about the 3 different attributes of mothers. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah. I think I can go through different parts of the day. I'm gonna be a different one for real. Okay. Depending on the circumstance, right? Depending on the circumstance and depending on what's going on. Look at him, he's just in my business. See? Depending on what's happening, especially like having a baby born in the middle of a pandemic. Oh my gosh. Like, a matter of fact, like the day he was born, March 3rd, that was when it broke out in North Carolina on his birthday. And so like, we went from like thinking it wasn't that big of a deal, right, to like it being life-changing. And so I've had to go from like a natural nurturer to being a protector, like just like that, because everything that's going on and being hypersensitive to everything. You know, everybody love babies, so they all want to see them and hold them. And like, you got to sanitize, you got to spray houses down, you got to limit who can come in and cannot come in. Also with that, like, with not being together with his father, I don't know what happens outside of my sphere of influence. And so having to let go was really hard in some ways, and trusting that like he's gonna be okay and he's gonna be taken care of even when he's outside of my natural like protection and being with me. But bless you. But also like he is an African-American male in the United States. So having to prepare, I haven't thought about how to prepare him yet. I've had to prepare myself. Like, there are conversations that I don't know how I'm gonna have, and I'll need to tap in on like my village of men to be able to have those conversations and talk to him about. And he has a little like Mason has a strong personality already, and so how can he have that strength without being intimidating and things like all of that? Like, I'm preparing myself to think about for my baby. So yeah, any part of the day, it can go either way, for sure.
That's good. That's a great perspective as far as well, you and Sierra both had the experience of birth and pregnancy during COVID. So I mean, like what was that like as far as, because okay, something the author talks about is how, which is a good segue to the next question about the womb experience, but she talks about the importance of that experience in the womb and how if mom is stressed, that affects, you know, your body and the baby, and if mom's happy. But COVID, anyway, COVID is its own level of stress on anybody. So I'm like, I can't imagine what it's like, you know, having a whole baby, you know, and handling that on top of life at the same time. So like, I want to hear you guys' perspective on what that was like going through COVID.
All right. For me, I was pregnant during the entire COVID and gave birth, of course, January 2nd. So during COVID still. But for me, my husband, like I was saying, couldn't come to any appointments at all besides the anatomy ultrasound it was like 19, 20 weeks. So he had to just hear what I was telling him from all the appointments and everything. So first appointment to hear the first heartbeat, he couldn't hear all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, all the information they're giving about what to do, what not to do, like stuff I should not eat and all the different kind of stuff like that. He couldn't be there for it, when usually, you know, if the husband is available to come to the appointments or whoever the spouse is able to come to the appointment, they can come. But during COVID time, they're like nobody besides the patient, and then that's it. So he didn't get to be a part of that experience. But after every appointment, of course, I gave him the whole rundown, minute by minute, of how everything went. So that was how that went. And then, of course, he got to come for the anatomy ultrasound to see, you know, her moving around and her little heartbeat and all that different kind of stuff. And then to not like really being around family and stuff. And I know some people take like little like baby moons, like before they have the baby, like a little vacation, all that kind of stuff. So we were just at the house like 24/7, really just chilling, not really going anywhere because I wasn't trying to get COVID, which you know, God has blessed us to not have it. I got tested for it, of course, when I gave birth, and I don't have it. And my husband doesn't have it because I don't have it. So I was able to, you know, give birth and be still with my daughter, whereas, you know, I'm pretty sure if I would have had it, they probably would have separated us so that she didn't get it. And then the whole birth plan and everything, it's like in my mind, I had a plan of how I wanted it to go, but the Lord did not see it for it to go that way. But I don't know if that's this part of this question or if it's another one, but oh, okay. But yeah, so I had I guess like a scheduled induction at 39 weeks and 4 days. So we did that, went through all that process. And then I guess my body wasn't dilating anymore past 6.5 centimeters. So after like almost the whole day of being in labor with no pain medication, we ended up doing a C-section to get her out safely. So that's how she got here. After all the labor and all the other stuff, we ended up with a C-section to get her here. And she's healthy. She has a perfect little round head. And, you know, she's just a little bundle of joy. But that's my pregnancy during COVID story. We just stayed low-key, stayed home, didn't really see anybody. My mother still hasn't seen her besides like pictures and videos because, you know, she's trying to be like, okay, let's just stay home and like, you know, make sure we don't have anything so we don't bring anything to you guys. And yeah, just like a couple of like siblings have come to see her, but that's about it. So that's our story right now.
Hey, I just want to say, girl, we happy that you're here and safe, and we are happy that baby Sienna is here and safe. That's all that matters. Thank you for sharing that testimony. And look, God saw it another way, but thank you that He brought you through. Look, girl.
Definitely. Everybody's safe and healthy.
Yeah.
Recovery as well, and all that kind of stuff. So way better than it was day one.
So good. Brie, you want to join in on this one?
Yeah, I'd say that having a new baby during COVID was can be challenging because, or at least there are challenging moments because like in the beginning, you didn't think it was as serious as it would get. So like there's some grace now. People get it now, like, oh yeah, no, I don't want to see the baby. I'm not gonna, like there's more respect for it. But in the beginning of the stages, it was just, oh, you're being really extra. Like it was that kind of energy that people was giving you based off the decisions that you're making for your child, not knowing where it would progress to. But that's kind of like, people would sometimes make me feel like I was wrong for keeping my child in, or not bringing them out to church, or not bringing to this function or to that function and things like that. And now I'm glad that was my choice. But also the fact is, like, he's 10 months. So I'm still making those choices now. Like, just because he made it past a few weeks of being in COVID, his whole life has been defined by being in this specific season. So I have to make decisions about it still every single day with him, because he's still a toddler and he's still little, and his little system isn't that strong or developed yet. And so I have to make those decisions. I have to watch who I'm around. I have to watch, like, to the degree that I can, who he's around. And the challenge is when people roll up against that structure, like what my response is going to be as his mom. And depending on who the person is and what the rub is, I can choose to, like, grace it, give it some grace, or change that structure a little bit to either accommodate or to switch it. And one of those ways was I had to move out in the middle of a pandemic. I was not thinking about moving out, or not so soon, but there were things that I desired for him structurally that weren't being respected at my home where I was at. And so I took it for as long as I could and roll with the punches. But at some point when things were just becoming way out of the line, and specifically I had a family that when things got to a point where I had a family member who was going out partying and doing things during COVID and had no regard for the fact that there was a small infant in here, then systematically, like, something has to change structurally. And so I can be that change then. Since you aren't at the place where you want to change or respect what I desire, then I can be the change. And so, like, I had to move in the middle of a pandemic out with my toddler, and figure it out every single day. So yeah, it's been interesting walking through the entire time with it. And I think people are way more understanding now, Sierra. Definitely. Like, they were like, oh girl, I understand you do what you gotta do to protect that baby. But now it's like, where's Mason? Why can't Mason come? I was like, yo, he's still a baby. Like, he still need to be inside away and protected too. Like, so yeah. It comes and goes. Like, people, what? You see him trying to look. What?
No.
Everybody talking to you.
So
You see Auntie Ann, she's losing it. All right.
But we're gonna go ahead and segue to the second question that we want you guys to kind of think about. It kind of pretty much still pertains to just having a baby, but just maybe not during COVID. And just kind of think back towards your pregnancy, just kind of like the emotions you were feeling just during the time period of when you were pregnant, just some of the things that you did. And yeah, like, were you happy? Were you sad? Were you indifferent? Were you excited? Were you know, like, just kind of let us into your womb life for a little second of what you're wanting to share. And you guys can take the floor whenever. Who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll go. When I had my son, I was 20. So I was in college. Didn't know anything. I had a kind of feeling that I was pregnant, but like I come from a strict household. So I told my mom before I found out I was pregnant, I told her to take me to the hospital because people in class were getting sick, and I thought I was sick. And I kind of knew, but that's when I went to my mom. Those conversations with my parents were not had. It was basically, when we were growing up, it was just like, you know, stay away from this, don't do this, don't do that. They didn't tell you why. They just knew that you know, this is not something you're supposed to do. And sex and relationships and all that were not talked about. And I found out, I was scared. I was in school. I didn't know what I was going to do about school. Me and his father were not on the same page. We weren't even a couple. I was scared. I was honestly scared. I really thought that, you know, all the things that I had heard, like if you have a baby, you can't go to school, you can't finish school, you can't, nobody's going to be interested in you. All of those things just kept playing over and over in my mind. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be shunned away. You know, older people was going to think things about me. I shouldn't have done it. And when I had him, I had so much support. My support system is out of this world. I have a strong support system. And then 7 years later, when I got pregnant again, I went through a stage of denial because it had been 7 years. And I really was in denial. And I say the first 3 or 4 months, I was depressed. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not married. How am I going to bring, why would I do this? Well, how am I going to bring another child into this world and I'm not married? And how is it going to affect this baby? And, you know, why would I want to start back over 7 years? I just went through I was on an emotional roller coaster. It was happy 1 minute, sad the next minute, depressed another minute. And I decided after my daughter that, you know, because I was sick both pregnancies, having another one is not what I wanted, because at that point, I'm like, I don't have any suitors to be married. I don't want to bring another baby in this world, not knowing if I was going to be married or not. I mean, it was just a range of emotions that I went through. I mean, I didn't know, like I said, you have to have that support system. And where I thought my mom and dad were going to shun me away, they stepped up to the plate. And my dad was really there for my son. He was really there for my son. And my mom and my sisters, I can't even begin to thank them enough for what they done for me. You know, to me, it's all about the support system, especially if you are a single parent. You have to have that support system to back you up, because there are going to be some days, there are going to be some mornings, there are going to be some, especially if you work and you have, I mean, there were times where my sister quit her job to take care of my kids, both of them. And I didn't have to send them to a daycare, but there were still things that I missed. You know, I like someone said, I thought I had to overcompensate in some areas because I would have to get out and work. And there would be long days. You know, I would go to work when the sun came up and I would be home when the sun came down. And they had to be there for them when they did homework, events and everything like that. And I missed it. You know, so it has its benefits. There are a range of emotions you go through, but it's all about the support system.
I can go next because I definitely understand where you were coming from when you said you went through kind of like a denial phase, like just a denial phase. Because where I came from, not a strict household, but from people with conservative values. So me being me, it didn't matter how much I had gone through or how much I had accomplished. There was always a light of judgment because I'm not married. And so that was the initial reaction from most people wasn't, oh, I'm so happy for you. it was like, oh, you okay, well, good luck with that. Like, you could have been so much more, but now you're going to be a mom. So good luck with that. Like, especially with the people that I was around at the moment. I graduated in 2016 and I had my son in 2018. So there was like this kind of like, I don't know, it was just like an era where everybody thought that you just had to climb and build as much as possible. And so everybody who were having kids, it was like, couldn't be me. Oh, good luck with that. Like, like everybody thought that there was just me and my potential that was there. Like, I expected you to do all of this, but this is what you're going to do. And I just expected you to be married, and I expected this. And there were all of these expectations that everyone had for me that I didn't reach. And so it was just like a kind of just a little cloud. And as much as people were there for me, like, I have support. I have a huge support system. I have people who are physically there, but there was a mental block that I was just like, it took me to see the ultrasound for me to believe I was pregnant. Like, I was in my head, I was like, no, it's not going to be true. It's not going to be true. It's not going to be true. And then we get there, and like, my boyfriend's telling me, like, come on, like, get over it. It's true. Like, it is what it is. So he's believing it from before I even took the test, because he bought them. But it literally took her showing me for me to be like, okay, all right, I'm gonna be a mom. And then at that point, it was like, I'm super pro-choice. So I just am. Like, I grew up not super religious, but I'm like spiritual, I guess I could say. I'm not like super like strict Christian, because I've read a lot of different religious texts and they all look very similar to me. So I can't say that I'm super Christian when I've read a lot and the message is kind of the same in a lot of different religions. So I just say, like, I agree with like the morals and of everything. And so in my head, I'm thinking, wow, my morality is falling. I'm not the person that I thought I was going to. Like, it just hit my core, because everybody, I would say it was everybody was making me feel like I didn't reach up to my potential, but really these were the core values that were instilled in me. So these are my subconscious thoughts that are coming out, because this is how I was raised, this is how I was bred, this is how I was shaped, and this is how everybody around me feels. So I can't say that that's not part of my subconscious, it's in me. So that's where the denial piece came from. But like I said, I'm super pro-choice. So if I'm going to make the choice to be a mom, get over it. There's no way that you can put that type of kids feel what their parents feel. And if your mom is kind of feeling like, wow, you get on my nerves, the kid is going to feel like, wow, maybe I don't have a space in this world, or wow, maybe I should, like, it just shapes. I don't want his self-esteem to be shaped by anything that I was going through. I don't want anything of him to be shaped because of the negativity that was inside of me. And so my motherhood journey has just been a whole bunch of healing, because that opened up a whole lot of doors to me, for me looking at myself in the mirror and realizing, okay, well, when he grows up, I don't want him to have to deal with that too. So how do I fix this piece in me so that he's good to go? And I feel like that's something I should have done before I had him, but I didn't. So it was like a crash course, get your life together, because I guess I can say I just 100% honesty and disclosure, I dealt with depression and anxiety since I was 16. You can't be a depressed mom. Like, it don't work. Like, you can, but it doesn't work out for the kids. So get your life together, like, and just make sure that postpartum didn't hit me, because I was really scared that even though I've worked really, really hard to like be happy again, that was going to kick me back to a low. So that was another part of my like kind of denial, like, dang, now I have to go through a whole nother battle of emotions. But it was super worth it, because yeah, it actually, my fears never manifested. So that was, again, a lot of internal healing you had to do, because what I was scared of and the person that I thought I couldn't be, I'm actually more now than I ever was before him. So he didn't stop anything. And even though I'm thinking that people are judging me, the only thing I can be is me. Like, the only thing that I can be is just the best I can be. And to him, that's perfect. Like, so I just have to do that and have faith in that, that everything I do is going to be for the benefit of the future.
That was so good, Shay.
That was a word.
Yeah, that was so good.
That was a whole word.
I'm over here about to cry. Like, I'm like, yes. Like, whew. Okay, let me get off before I really be crying.
Well, I definitely like what Shay was saying. It's one thing for me is that I've had to have a lot of grace with myself personally, because healing is a journey. There is no destination. I don't care if you are 63. I don't care if you're 13. If you are active in your healing, it is going to take place daily, and life is still going to go on, with or without children. And I'm going to be quite honest. Having children was probably the biggest point of clarity for me. Okay, I've had enough of this man. I'm gonna go ahead and exit. Stage left. No hard feelings. I've had enough depression. Let me start looking through my life, because my children deserve a healthy, happy mom. And by happy, I don't mean I got the biggest paycheck in the world. It don't mean any of that, but it means that I can show up in my house. I can show up at my job. I can show up at my house of worship. I can show up wherever and feel like I'm working towards, never to get to, but working towards. And that's every day, even in those moments of sadness, even in those moments of I could be better, I can't be a depressed mom, you're going to feel what you feel. I got a lot of stuff I'm feeling. You've got a lot of stuff you're feeling. Bree's got a lot of stuff. Tekeyha, Angie, Miss Jackie, and we're all in different phases of our lives. We're going to feel stuff and we're going to experience stuff. It's just a matter of having grace as mothers. And so what if they're judging you? Because we all got something we can be judged on, period. But at the end of the day, you are trying. You are applying. You're allowing yourself to be introspective. You're looking at ways to enhance. You're getting there. And so it is so healthy that you are in that place, and that you were in that place that you were in when you found out you were pregnant, that denial phase, all of that. You're looking back on it and saying, that's who I was. This is who I am now. I'm recognizing that stuff and I'm building from it. So kudos to all of us for looking at ourselves.
We got any other womb experience? Go ahead, C.
Oh, I'll go ahead and jump in real quick. Mine was a different experience. Me and my husband made the decision to have our daughter. We didn't know, of course, she was going to be a daughter. But we were like, hey, let's have a baby. So we were, trying and then checking. I was like, do you see two lines? Do you see two lines? I was like, I see it. And he was like, okay, calm down. Don't get too excited. And then the next day it got darker. I was like, it wouldn't be there if I wasn't. So we were like checking. And then we were like, okay, let's wait a few weeks and make sure it's like legit. And then, get the doctor's appointments and all that different kind of stuff. So we were like anticipating and like trying to do our best to like, plan and prepare for her. And then of course with COVID, all the stuff that he couldn't be a part of, but of course he was a part of the beginning. But it was like, my emotions was like the anticipation. Then it was like, okay, this is real. And then it's like all the changes that happen, like it just smack you in the face. One day you just wake up and it's like, whoa, my whole body feels, not whole body feels different, but I feel different now. And it's like, okay, like I had like the morning sickness, that's all day sickness. I don't know why I say morning, but it's like, you just look at something or smell something and then just throw up and not feel good. But it was like not necessarily knowing all the things that happened throughout the whole 9 months, but trying to prepare and read and watch videos and look at articles and, you know, just talk to other people, like, and continue to read and watch YouTube videos on like all the different things. Angie knows I love YouTube. But just continue to watch and learn all the different things, because it's like, okay, you made this decision. Now it's like, get prepared, because nothing's gonna stop. It's like, once it started, it's going. So it's like preparing myself, preparing my body, trying to have the best vitamins and eat good and, you know, drink enough water and be like, okay, now my body is like a vessel for her. Not even knowing she was a she until later on, but just knowing that, okay, my body isn't for myself. So it's like thinking positive thoughts, you know, knowing that we wanted her. So it's like, okay, you chose this. This is what you chose. So doing the best that you can to, you know, bring her into the world healthy. Because I was like, okay, I want her body to be developed the right way. I don't want her to have any issues that I could have, you know, prevented from something that I did. So it was like trying to be in the best headspace, eat what I could eat, because I didn't eat the best every single day, but I ate, you know, what I felt like I needed to eat. But just doing my best while she was still inside of me, because everything that affected me or I took in internally was going straight to her. So knowing that, I was like, okay, don't want to get my emotions all in a roller coaster. Don't want to be watching scary movies and be all tense, and then her little heart rate wants to go up and all the different kind of stuff. So knowing, okay, she's on the inside, everything I do affects her. So yeah, that's how my emotions were. I tried to stay neutral and positive through it all, and knowing, okay, you chose this, now do your best so that, you know, she can have the best setup for the future that she can.
That is so funny. Just to piggyback off that, I'm sorry, but I had a really stressful job when I was pregnant. So I was always like, everybody was always like, yeah, you should probably quit, because they're gonna they always said the kids gonna make you go into labor early, and they did. They really did. I was so stressed, but I love them, but it was just like a high stress job at the moment.
Definitely. I also kind of want to just, we have a question that wasn't asked. I just kind of want to get a quick, I guess, overview just based off the responses that we've been getting. So in the book, she talks about self-worth a lot. So it says mothers bestow self-worth. So I just kind of want to know, like, how you guys, not guys, how you ladies, sorry, express your self-worth, and like kind of like just how you feel about your body now, just like kind of how you were describing, how you were describing your experience in the womb, but just kind of give us a brief, like how you kind of continue your day to day, just kind of knowing your self-worth as a mom, just kind of how that portrays to your children now at all of their ages.
Can I go? I think I'm honest about, like, for those that are most close to me in my intimate space, that I am in a place of rediscovering and reestablishing that self-worth and being okay with that, like, and not like walking down with my head held down or like, oh no, I don't have it all together, because I'm used to being a person that has to have it all together, and this is the most unkept, untogether I've ever been, and understanding that, like, that's okay, and things that I found worth and value in before don't seem as worthy or valuable as they did before. And so with that, if my identity was associated with those things being valuable and worthy, then like now my identity is like, oh, okay, well then, like, let's shore up this identity then and this self-worth, so that circumstances don't get to have control over how I feel about myself. So it's kind of being redefined for me right now.
Self-discovery is something that happens throughout motherhood. You're always self-discovering because you're going to hit different levels. So you're going to always be self-discovering. For me, it is, my kids are older. So I had to step back and take time for me. There were things that I just wouldn't do while I was raising my kids, and dating was one of them. Like, I never put my kids around somebody else. So for me, it was discovering self again and putting myself, taking care of myself in that way. I even waited until my son graduated, my daughter was getting ready to graduate, and then I got married. So I put myself in that situation first, and because I had already got them to where they needed to be, try to, like, as we said, prepare them for what was coming, and they were going off to school or out of the home or whatever. So it was self-discovery for me, to discover what I hadn't discovered while they were little. So you're always going to be self-discovering at different phases of motherhood. And even now, with my son being 28 and my daughter being 20, she's soon to be 21, I still have that guidance that I still want to give them, because having a baby, you have a different mindset. It's just like overnight. Like, as soon as the baby is here, of course, you're getting prepared to have a baby, but as soon as the baby gets here, your mindset is totally different. It's a totally different mindset. You no longer think the same way you did a month ago, 2 months ago. It's a totally different mindset. And you're going to keep having different mindsets as your kids get older, because they hit different levels. So school age, different mindset, because now you got to worry about who's around your kids. With them going over friends' house, they get friends. Now you got to worry about, okay, how's these friends? What are these friends into? It's different things that you're going to have to change your mindset about at different levels of their life.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we got 4 minutes left. We don't want to get kicked out again. So I want to end with the question that we prepared you for, since you had some time to marinate on it. And I want everybody to answer this question as concisely as possible, but also as authentically and honestly as possible. I want to know, what word or phrase would you use to describe your journey of motherhood?
Enlightenment.
That's good.
I'll
I have a
go.
song.
Oh,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. You can go ahead.
I have a song title. It's a CeCe Winans song, and it's called "It Wasn't Easy, but It Was Worth It." So I think that sums it up.
I'll go ahead and go. Just getting started.
I have mine. Make it your own.
My word was conscious. It was like, I'm not gonna lie, it's not my word. Like, there's this group on Facebook called like the Conscious Mom, and it's just like reshaping the way that we kind of raise our kids.
Any more phrases or one-worders? I don't want us to get
Determined.
determined.
What you got, Brie?
I was thinking hard too. Challenging? Yeah, because things that challenge us can be positive or negative, or, just depends on perspective. So for sure, challenging.
That's a good one.
Yeah, all of those are really good. And I love the different perspectives that everybody had.
Definitely.
Well, I just want to say, y'all, thank you so, I really wanted to do this again, honestly, because there's so many more questions. Like, there's so much more that I just want to get y'all perspective on. So don't be surprised if we might reach out again and maybe try to set something else up, because I really enjoyed hearing the perspectives of all different ages, all different, I guess, mother ages, you know, different age kids, and been moms for different lengths of time, and moms during COVID, and old school moms and new school moms. Like, all the perspectives are so valid, and to hear even the commonalities between all of you was so beautiful. And so, I mean, I love, like, I think when Shea mentioned healing, that set it off for me, because it's like, even what Summer said, it's such a process every day. And I believe that this moment of just sharing your perspective is another step in that healing and making you better. So we just want to thank you for your time, and thank you for your perspectives. God's going to continue to give you the grace to keep on momming in the best way you can for your child. He's graced you just for your baby, okay? So always be confident in that, if no matter what nobody else say. And so, yeah, I definitely look forward to what's going to come from this conversation, and look forward to many more. So hope y'all have a great night. Love you guys, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.